Welcome to the Lost and Found podcast. I'm your host, Amanda. Join me each week as I rediscover my life's meaning, my passions, and my place in this world after leaving behind the only dream I've ever known. If you are dealing with self-loss, identity changes, career transitions, or you are still trying to figure out your life's purpose, then you're not alone. Join me. Wanderers are always welcome. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Lost and Found podcast. This is your host, Amanda. I am so excited to bring you a brand new guest today. I am honored to be speaking with Gabriela Embon. She helps high achievers create legendary careers and marriages. She is a former chemical engineer and specifically trained in efficiencies. And she is now a keynote speaker, relationship coach, author, podcaster. She's a triple threat in all the spaces, but she has dedicated her life to helping people build legendary relationships and ideally becoming power couples. So, everyone, please welcome Gabriela to the show.
Thank you so much, Amanda. Such a warm introduction. And thank you for saying my name properly.
I love doing this show because I get to meet people from all over the world that have accomplished things in different industries that I've never even approached before. But I think this episode may end up being my mother's favorite episode because she is trained as a computer engineer. And so when I was reading through your book and listening to your other podcasts and your stories and the examples you use of the couples, I was starting to recognize, like, oh, my mom does that. My dad does that. My mom does that. My dad does that. I think she will appreciate the advice and the insights you'll have because she's an engineer and she thinks about efficiency, and everything that she does in her life always has a plan and a step, and she can think down through the tactics. And my dad's the creative of the house, like we discussed before we started recording. So he's very happy-go-lucky. He doesn't freak out all the time, and she'll have high pressure stress and be like, why is he not doing this thing? And he's like, we'll be okay, it's fine. And so I noticed those stories from you and your husband, where it's like, oh, it's clicking, that makes sense. But my parents will, I think in May it'll be 35 years that they've been together.
You had a beautiful role models at home. This is
Mm-hmm.
priceless.
Yes, they've been an excellent role model group. They may not feel that way, but I think my brother and I were very lucky to see actually two people be so different and be so open in their marriage together in front of us. When things were good, we knew it. When things were bad, we knew it. But I don't think there was ever a time where we truly were afraid that they weren't going to come back together and solve a problem together. So that was always really cool to see that happen and to just see them grow too. They've changed so much since I was a kid, and it's been nice. And now they're watching me and my brother grow up and have relationships and try and do this too. And so it's just interesting to integrate them into my life, but also feel vindicated by reading your book and be like, oh, okay, that's real, that's achievable, that's so nice.
Oh, yeah. If there's anything I want the listeners to remember is that it is totally doable, possible with investment and, putting the right type of work. It's definitely doable.
Yeah, so that's excellent. Well, I would love to dive right on in. Let's tell the listeners a bit more about who you are if they've not had the chance to read your book yet, Becoming a Power Couple, The 4 Pillars to Engineer Legendary Marriages. If they've not had a chance to read that yet, let's give them a little bit of a background about who you are and kind of what you were doing before you became an author and a relationship coach.
Yeah, absolutely. So, look, as you said, before I stepping into the world of coaching and writing, I was an engineer. So I was very much trained to analyze systems, to solve problems. I work in quality control too. So, spot the defects of Pentium 4 chips and optimize processes. But beyond the technical work, I was always fascinated by the human potential and how we, grow, adapt, and build meaningful relationships. So I was more passionate about the human side. In fact, I was always praised for my training capabilities. I was fascinated by getting others to do better, the technicians that were under my guidance. So the human potential was always my passion. So as I navigated my own marriage, my own career, I realized that the same principles that create strong, efficient structures in engineering could be applied to building relationships. And that led me to become first a certified coach, which I've been doing this for 2 decades now, and helping, high achievers and power couples create that kind of marriages that don't just thrive. I don't like to compromise on less than what feels amazing for me. I want them to thrive. And what feels amazing, I said for me, because every couple will have their own, definition of what an amazing marriage is. But everybody knows when they're compromising. So that's what we're trying to always avoid. Create a life of no regrets.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, they wanna say that they're gonna live a life of no regret, but then having no regret means you also take risk, right? And you invest in something and you have a passion towards it, and if you gotta be willing to put in some kind of effort to figure out if it's even a regret or not, right? So,
That's
I
right.
think that's wonderful that you've found a way to utilize what you know your skill set is, but apply it to something that everyone deals with. Not everybody's an engineer, but everyone has personal or romantic relationships that can be built in a better way. And so I think that that's so cool. You found a way to apply that.
And that's why I wrote the book, right? Like you said, not everybody's an engineer, and that's okay. Because the book, the Becoming a Power Couple, the blueprint for legendary relationships, it's actually the four pillars to engineer a legendary relationship. That brings together everything that I've learned. It's about making relationships extraordinary by applying the practice, the commitment through the four pillars. But primarily is the belief that a legendary marriage is not something you find, it's something you build.
Mm,
And that's possible for any couple if they're willing to be intentional about it. Does it make sense?
yes, absolutely. I've learned a lot, especially through my own relationships or through this podcast and talking to other experts about relationships. You can't change somebody else's behavior. You can't force them to like you or love you or want to invest in the same things that you want to invest in. It's got to be a mutually agreed upon. I'm 100% in, you're 100% in. So let's do this together.
That's
And
right.
if that doesn't happen, then it's not gonna be sustainable, or you're gonna build resentment or contempt. You talked a lot about how that leads down a really bad rabbit hole if you don't deal with that initially. So I think that's a very important point that you make throughout the book. And so I'm curious though, before we dive into, we'll definitely talk about the 4 pillars because I had that on my question list and wanted to talk to you about it. This show is often about transformative moments where you're kinda stuck in a corner or you wake up and you're going, "Oh my god, what do I do now? I've realized this is not where I wanna be in my life, or this is the wrong path and I've gone too far and I have to figure out how to turn around and pivot, but I don't really know what to do." And you opened your book with a very powerful story about your current husband wasn't actually who you were supposed to marry initially, and you changed your mind. And so I'm curious if you wouldn't mind sharing that story with the listeners. I know I've had several friends, unfortunately, have similar feelings, but they didn't act on them before their wedding, and the results are not so nice now. So I'm curious if you wouldn't mind sharing your initial story before you became a coach and before you got married, like what led you to this point and helped you build this power couple relationship that you have now.
I think I was lucky because I was given the opportunity to act. So let me start from the beginning. I was engaged with someone who I've been dating for 5 years, and it was a month before the wedding that I had a dream. And in that dream, it's my wedding day. I'm walking towards the altar, and the person that is waiting for me is not my fiance at the time, it's my current husband. So it was a very, almost like a lucid dream. It was very vivid. I remember everything the moment I woke up. And I saw that as a sign. And I say that I was lucky because I was given that opportunity to see that all these thoughts that I've been having, like nobody's 100%, 80% is good enough. Worst case, you'll get divorced. Nobody knows you like him. I was excusing, right? Why am I moving forward with this? I was given the opportunity to act differently and put all these thoughts aside. So the next day that when I woke up, I had an argument with my fiance over the phone. We were not living in the same city. And that was my opportunity to act.
Mhm.
So I think many times in lives we're giving those opportunities, and that's right. It's a pivotal moment where you actually decide whether you're going to take that opportunity or not. Now, I'm a former believer that you want to make decisions not based on where you are, but based on where you want to be. And I also like a sentence that, of course, in hindsight, I know that now, but it's a sentence my husband always says. it's better to have a small explosion now than a bigger one later with bigger collateral damage. I didn't know that, or I haven't heard him say that yet, but I think unconsciously I knew that this
Sure.
is my moment. This is my opportunity to change my life.
And yeah, and I need to take it, right? Like if that dream is real, then I need to give it the chance to actually understand it and uncover why am I having that now at this moment in my life? Like it wouldn't have come to me if it didn't serve a purpose of some sort.
That's right. And look, it wasn't out of nowhere. I was having these doubts, second thoughts. So,
Mhm.
I connected the dots that now it's not just my thought. It's not just me, right? Now
Right.
I'm having a message, a clear sign. So I couldn't ignore it.
Right. When after everything ended and you decided to approach your now husband to date, how did he receive it? Did it make sense to him too, or did he go, "Well, I've been in love with you the whole time and let's do it." Was he 100% in, or did it kind of start interesting?
So I think the connection was there. Obviously, just friends, but we were feeling that there is a connection. And I think when I told him I canceled my wedding, I'm
Yeah.
basically available to date. I won't forget my mom's face when I said, I want to date this person. She was like, what? My poor mom.
Him?
When I said, oh, I'm
Eso?
canceling my wedding and I want to start dating my friend. And she was like, what? Yeah, it's good. She has a strong heart.
Yes.
Thank God.
Yeah.
But you kind of feel.
Mhm.
I felt that this is a person for me, and I think he was having similar feelings, but he would never dare say anything because he knew I was engaged. So he was very
Right, yeah,
respectful of
he
that.
was gonna be respectful.
But
Okay.
we started dating very soon after,
Right,
and
yeah.
it was just a sense of coming home. I just knew this is a person. I could tell the difference right away between the way I felt now and the way I felt before. It was mainly the feeling this is home and I can be myself 100%.
Right. And that's what I think everybody should be chasing, or at least trying to find in their significant other that
I wasn't
yeah.
chasing that. I
Yeah.
don't like the word chasing.
Okay.
I think I wasn't chasing that because obviously I was with someone else. I think I attracted that. It was sent to me.
Okay, yeah, so you were on you were sending
I was
out the
receptive.
particular vibration or affirmation
In
into
fact,
the
I couldn't be
universe.
chasing what I didn't know.
Mhm.
I honestly didn't know that I can feel that way with another man. Like I
Wow, yeah.
remember feeling, oh, I can actually, be myself. I can speak without overthinking everything. I can feel comfortable with another man. But when you don't know, you don't know.
Okay.
It's not as, oh, no, you don't know. You think
You
this is
don't
the
know.
way it should be. So I couldn't be chasing something I didn't know. Does it make
Okay.
sense?
Yes. I'm curious, do you also not like the phrase, "When you know, you know"? Because I get that a lot where my friends try and encourage me to date or like, "It'll be fine, like, you'll find the right person when you know," and I'm kinda like, "But some of you dated your partners for, like, years and then finally got married, or you only dated for 6 months and then got married." So, like, I can't really guarantee that when you know always works.
So here's what I believe. I
Yeah.
believe that if you allow yourself to be fully in, you will know because you will know it's yes or no because you are
Okay.
fully in. You're not 1 foot in, 1 foot out. When you commit, but not really, when you put a wall around you, you can't really tell, in my opinion.
Okay.
But in both relationships, I was fully in. And same as I knew the first one is not it because I was having these thoughts, they were telling me, worst case, I'll get divorced. So that's very clear that this is not it. But I didn't know that there's another possibility. I just knew that this is not really in alignment. And then with my husband, 6 months later, I just told him, I feel this is for life. I just knew. So, but I know that I was fully in. And I think that for everything, whether it's your career or your relationship, you have to fully commit to know if that's what you want or not. And not everybody is ready to fully commit because we're careful, because we've been hurt. We can put a wall around us. Does it make sense?
Yes, it does. You talk a little bit about that in the book where you talk about people being afraid that marriage traps you or it takes away your freedom, that marriage actually makes you disconnected from yourself. But you argued the actual opposite in that. So I'd love to
Yes.
kind of dive into your book a bit, if that's all right with you. Are you still doing the chemical engineering stuff, or are you full-time author? Yeah. Okay.
I'm a full-time coach. Yeah.
So let's talk about what encouraged you to start writing the book, or where did you get the inspiration from to do it, and how did you kind of approach that with your husband too? Because you talk about him in this as well, so I would assume he's okay with it and aware and everything about the stories you share and things like that.
I go from the beginning. So I'm a coach and I coach individuals and I coach couples. As I was coaching couples, I started noticing that, to say the least, people were not using the best practices when it comes to marriage. That there were things that we're doing, and I understand that marriage is very personal, very cultural influence, but there were things that I didn't know. No. And I would think to myself, but of course it's not going to work because you're doing everything that you shouldn't do in a relationship. And I was taking that at heart because relationships mean so much to me, because I know what's possible.
Mhm.
I truly believe in what's possible. I know what's possible when you apply yourself. It's not that our journey has been all roses, but we have worked through it. So I started having this desire to share knowledge, not just with my clients. Of course, I was sharing with my clients, but I want to impact more people and share what I know about marriage. So my first thought was, okay, let's do a YouTube channel together and talk about how we do marriage, best practices, how we run our family, our relationship, of course, without revealing too many private things. So we started with that, and we started recording in a studio. We found the studio, started recording. We were not happy, and we said we need a third person to interview us because I need to be asked the questions more than anything. And we found a third person, a woman I trust. She ended up being the editor of my book. And we started doing the podcast, and we did or YouTube channel, we did about 8 episodes together. And that was new for my husband. I'm used to being on camera and teaching and talking, but for him, he's not a coach. He has his own career path. It was new, but he kind of, I think, he went along with it. He wanted to make me happy, I guess. And he found value in that. But after 8 episodes, I told him, I feel this is not good. This is not it. I want to stop. And I said, but there must be a way for me to share this information. Now, the idea of writing a book has been in my mind for 2 years, but I had to try other things and course correct along the way to come to that divine timing when I said, that's it. I'm just going to write the book. And the moment I said that, it took 3 months to write a book. So there was evolution, there was progress there. And this is really what I believe, that everything is a process that we evolve into the final product. We start with a desire. The desire was a sole desire to share what I know about marriage and to help couples avoid the mistakes, the pitfalls that I was seeing with my own clients. But not everybody's my client, right?
Of course.
So how can
Yeah.
how can I help more people? But it's not that I knew right away, okay, I'm going to write a book. Yes, it was there, but first I said, let's just do this YouTube channel. And I think this is important in life. We just need to start. And then the clarity and the path gets revealed as you're walking it. It never gets revealed when you're thinking in the starting line. So I'm a former believer that you don't need to figure it out to start. You actually need to start to then figure it out. And pretty much everything in my life has been that way.
Yeah. I've had a few people kind of ask me, like, how did you get brave enough to start posting online or doing talking head style on your Instagram and things like that? And it's kind of like, I'm not. Like, I don't feel good when I do it. Even now, I've been podcasting for a little over I guess almost 2 years now, and I'm just now getting more comfortable with what I'm doing and how I speak or how I prepare or the research that I do on each guest and etc. But I'm not confident. I just know that I feel like my best self when I'm trying and slowly getting better or figuring it out. But you're right. If I had kept waiting for it to feel good or the perfect moment, I would have never done it. I would have never taken a risk on myself. And so I love that you said that, because that's just so crucial to any goal. Some listeners may not be authors, some listeners may not be podcasters either, but they have something in their life that they've been thinking about wanting to try, or they've been debating it in the back of their mind, or they've had ideas and written it down over and over again, but they just never pulled the trigger. So I'm so glad that you said that they don't need to wait. Your gift
Absolutely.
can grow and get better over time. It doesn't need to be perfect immediately.
Totally. And in fact, the imposter syndrome is just a sign you're starting something new. And for some people, it takes, 10 episodes. For others, it might take 2 years. I actually also started my podcast. It's going to be 3 years ago, just because I was terrified. I said, I have to face this fear.
I have to keep trying. I think that's wonderful that you didn't give it up completely. Maybe YouTube may have not been the right medium for you, but if podcasting and writing instead was better, then that's great because you're still getting your information out there and you're not giving away or giving up a creative side of yourself. You're
That's
just
right.
channeling it in a different direction. So I think
That's
that's
right.
so crucial. I was super curious. You wrote a lot about a couple different things. I have so many questions. I really enjoyed reading this book. I'm not even
Thank you
married, and I'm like,
for having me.
wow, I learned a lot. In the title, you talk about becoming a power couple, and I loved that you said power couple rather than just like power in a married couple, because you can be with your significant other, you can be engaged and still practice these items. You can be married for 30, 40, 50 years and start trying to become a power couple. So I love that it was a universal phrase. So I'm curious if you could explain to the listeners, what is a power couple and how do you become one?
A power couple isn't just a pair of successful individuals, or it's not a couple that, that flies in private jets. That's not what I'm talking about, right? It's a couple that has learned how to intentionally build a relationship that their synergy fuels their growth, that deepens their connection, that amplifies their impact in the world. It's not a perfect couple also, but it's an aligned couple, aligned mentally, emotionally, strategically. They have a common vision, and they prioritize helping each other fulfill themselves personally, as a couple and as a family. So they don't just love each other, they actively support, they challenge, and they truly elevate one another. Almost like they see their marriage as this engineer partnership, and they're very intentional. They don't leave it to chance. So that's the way that I see a power couple. In very simple words, you feel that your partner is your best friend, your confidant, your partner in crime, your lover, the parent of your children.
Mhm.
That's how it feels.
Yes, it is possible to have. You don't have to be rich and super wealthy to be considered a power couple. I get like social media or pop culture might inc- use that phrase to describe those types of people, but that doesn't necessarily actually describe what's really happening privately in their relationship, I think. So I think that's very nice that you separated the two, that you can have it. It doesn't mean you have to do anything extraordinary, but you have to be intentional with your choices and is specifically intentionally choosing one another over and over again. In your book, you also say marriage is not something we are, it is something we do. And I would love it if you could explain to the listeners a little bit about why it's so important to view your marriage as a verb and not just a noun.
Yeah, it's really at the heart of the book is the idea that marriage is not, as you said, something we are, is something we do, and that shifts, that mindset shifts the way we approach the relationship. Many people think marriage is a static state that you acquire on your wedding day, but the truth is that if you want to have a legendary marriage, it's not just about being husband and wife. It's about actively showing up for each other every day and being committed. And commitment has zero prerequisites. You don't need to feel the love to commit. You don't need to feel crazy about your spouse today to commit. In fact, you can be angry and still be committed. You can be upset and still do the right thing. So it's putting commitment towards the relationship above all. And that's the active, intentional commitment on a daily basis. And practically speaking, how do we commit on a daily basis? We do that through the practice of the 4 pillars that are described in the book.
Yes, yeah. So let's break those down. You had them separated, which I liked it. It was pretty simple and it's straightforward. I think anybody could apply the specific template you created and the exercises you added at the end of each chapter. So let's talk about the me, the you, the our, and the we.
Beautiful. So the me is the first pillar because, like we said, a power couple is made of true, strong, self aware individuals. So me is all about personal responsibility, knowing who I am, what I value, what I bring to the relationship, but also what my negativity and triggers are. What do I need to do to work on myself rather than blame my partner or expect my partner to make me happy? There are a few key phrases in the book. You can outsource your happiness to your partner, and you can use your partner as a punching bag. So I think these two phrases say it all, what the me pillar is about. For example, when I did the career change, it was when I was 35. So we were married. Yeah, we were married 11 years. And I wasn't happy. I wasn't fulfilled. I wasn't aligned in my career. Despite having it all and him being a great husband and having everything that society told me is going to make me happy, I wasn't. So it wasn't about blaming him. It was about two things: taking responsibility and understand what's lacking in my life, which was fulfillment and alignment in my career, and then communicating that to him and bringing him on board so he can be a real good friend and partner and support me. I think that many times we lead separate lives. We don't bring our partners on board. So I got clear, but I'm just going to go do my thing. It doesn't work that way. So that's the me pillar. The second one is mastering really the you, which is the deep understanding of your partner. Power couples seek to understand, not just to be understood, but to understand rather than to fix. They understand that, okay, you can fix things, but first you have to understand. So they communicate openly, they listen deeply, they learn each other's needs, triggers, and dreams. And learning each other's triggers is important, not because you're responsible for that, but because you want to make sure you don't step on those. So you want to be considerate. They don't assume they know each other. People change. We're not the same ones when we got married. So they ask, they respect each other's love language. They take that into consideration. It's all about respecting your partner, not trying to change your partner. It's about generosity, like truly coming from a place of giving without hidden agenda. And it's about the desire to know your partner deeper and never assume that you know everything that there is to know about that. That's actually a huge deal breaker. So that's the you. It's all about your partner. The me
Mhm.
is about me, the you is about your partner, the other person. And then the last two pillars are about the couple. So
Yes.
the third one is the hour. And the hour pillar is pretty much treating the relationship like a thriving business. I really like asking my clients sometimes, those who have businesses, I will ask them, if your relationship was your business, would it succeed or not? If you would run your business like you run your relationship, that's the right way. If you would run your business like you run your relationship, would it succeed or fail? And I think that's
Mhm.
a deep question for people to realize how we treat our marriage or our relationship. Businesses succeed because there's a clear vision, there's structure, there's accountability, and relationships are no different. So power couples run their relationship as a business with two shareholders. They set goals, they have a regular check-ins, they invest in their connection. They have what we call the 3 C's: communication, coordination, and collaboration. And then the fourth pillar, which of course needs the other three to actually be present, is the us. And the us is that union, that sacred,
Mhm.
sacred union. Is that spiritual, emotional, or physical bond or intimacy.
Okay.
So it's about that deep intimacy on every level. And power couples prioritize emotional safety and passionate connection. They don't stop dating each other. They don't stop learning about each other. They don't take each other for granted, and they make space for intimacy. So, as we said, it's all about being intentional. So, it's not saying, well, it doesn't happen spontaneously like it did in the beginning of the relationship, so it's probably not there anymore. No, they actually cultivate that intentionally, make space in their life for it. So, Me, you, our, what's ours, and
Mhm.
us.
I love that you in one of the sections you also included when you're trying to connect with each other and better, I think it was the you pillar, trying to better connect to your partner and understand who they are. You actually provided a list of questions that you could ask that are kind of open-ended just to kind of see what they think about or what they're creative about, or if they had a dream or a vision that maybe you hadn't heard before. There was a unique way to ask the question that made it approachable and fun and not accusatory, as if, oh, you're not telling me everything about yourself, like you're holding anything back, kind of a thing. It's not that. It's just an opportunity to, maybe you've been together the 7, 10, 12, however many years, and you're kind of like, all right, I think I know everything. And it was a good way to have an icebreaker to go, oh, no, I guess I don't. That's cool, or that's funny, or I never knew you thought that way.
We can never know because we're changing. We're always changing. As we are maturing, as our hormones change, we are changing. Our priorities change. Maybe not our core values, but the rest do change. You know what my husband told me yesterday? I was blown. Actually, that shocked me completely. We were talking about the children. We have three, 16, 18, and 23. And he said, today when I look at them, I regret we didn't have more. And I was like, what?
My
They have
goodness.
to come out of me, right?
You're like, I was happy with 3. 3 was good.
He says, as I'm aging, I'm starting to feel that. And of course, he says, it's not just, yes, it's you have to give birth to them, but we have to raise them. We have to have the means to raise them well. But I was like, I would never, if you would ask me, I've been with him for 30 years, 27 married. If you would ask if he ever regretted not having more children or would say that, I would absolutely say there's no way he's going to say that. No way. So that was such a revealing moment. He shocked me. And we've been married for so many years, and he said that. We were having supper, and at a certain point, after we finished, the kids left, and we just stay and talk. And he said that. That's I was shocked. So we're always changing.
Yeah. I liked that you talk about that too, that after dinner conversations are actually some of the best ways to kind of calm down from the night or the day and reconnect with each other, when you have alone time like that, because it's hard to do when you do have kids, right? And you probably created a safe space or a happy, welcoming space where he could sit in his thoughts and think about how he really felt and be nostalgic and say that out loud and not feel judged for what you might think he had just said.
Yeah, yeah. We feel very safe with each other to share what's in our heart. And the kids they're older now, so it's not about that. That challenge to describe was when they were younger, but at this point they're older. They're also they clean up their plate, put everything there. But it was late and we were tired, but we usually have conversations after. We're not rushing to get up, also because we're tired at the end of the day, so we kind of take that as an opportunity to unwind. And sometimes one will say, are you making tea? Am I making tea? And so yeah, but yesterday was something. I have to tell you what he said.
That's funny. I like that. I'm curious for the 4 pillars, have you noticed if there is a pillar that people get wrong or they might be doing incorrectly, or maybe they just misunderstood? They think they know that what they're doing and really they're doing it the wrong way, but they don't really realize. Is there one of the 4 pillars have more trouble than usual?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say it's the hour pillar.
Okay.
It's the hour pillar because we live in such a busy, fast-paced world. And the hour pillar, it's all about communication, collaboration, coordination, and having a common vision and having those moments where it's the way you run the business. So I find that most people lead separate lives. They don't manage the relationship together because they feel they have no time. Everybody keeps going full, putting all, hustling, but there is that lack of share of running this together, the lack of support. So I would say that's the one that suffers the most, I would say, because again, we get busy. Career,
Mhm.
kids, responsibilities, routines take over, and we stop being intentional about managing our relationships as a team. And the
Sure.
problem with that is that if we don't feel we are a team, we start feeling that we're leading separate lives. We start feeling that we are two different teams, we are apart. And then we start breaking that deep connection and bond of trust. And then solving problems, finding time for intimacy when you don't feel you are in the same team becomes more challenging. We also stop dreaming together. You go more into survival mode. And
Mm.
the practice of the hour pillar It's not just about running your life together and being a team. It's avoiding that survival feeling and being able to have conversations and dreams and, talk about the future and your goals and priorities, not just find yourself in the rat race.
Right. Yeah, if a couple were to come to you and you started to help them and coach them through some of the issues they might have been having, if they were struggling with the hour pillar, what are some tips or advice or maybe homework, I guess so to speak, what are things that you would have them do to help build that particular pillar back up?
So the first is the understanding of the purpose of the relationship is unity. And we will talk about how important it is to run the mindset first, the mindset shift about working together towards a common goal. And stop fixing problems, start understanding. One of the biggest mistakes couples make is trying to fix each other instead of
Mm,
understanding each other,
yeah.
right? So that breaks the bond of trust. When your partner shares something, is about, rather than trying to correct or defend yourself, is trying to understand, hear them, listen, and validate them. So we will talk about the mindset shifts that are needed, and then we're going to prioritize presence and the right rituals. Actually, start doing the rituals, the morning rituals, the evening check-ins, the weekly dates. We have weekly date night, that's to connect. But then
Okay.
we have the weekly planning meeting. So start doing these things, putting these rituals in place. And what I love about the word ritual is that automatically we know we have to do it. It's like the ritual of brushing your teeth every morning. You don't think whether you should do it. You don't think if you feel like doing, you just do it. And when people say, oh, we don't have time, we don't feel like it, just do it. You don't need to feel something to do it. Your feelings are one thing, the actions are another thing. Just do this thing and start seeing the difference. And when we get couples to commit to do these things, and then we start seeing that they start connecting back, that we
Mhm.
start reigniting that connection, then we can work deeper on what's missing in the relationship, whether it's intimacy, friendship, you know, there's resentment that needs to be resolved. The rituals are the commitments to do what you need to do, but it also says to the relationship, this is important. They create predictable moments of connection, and they create safety and consistency. And when there's safety and consistency, I feel I can trust you. Even during stressful times, even when I don't feel like it, even when I have the worst day ever.
You want them to be a safe place for you to come back to and know that I can rely on you even when I know I'm not doing well, or vice versa. When you're not doing as well, I'm consistently going to be here to show up and be there for you and make sure that I can help you out when it's not working so well for you. I think that's really good. We talked a little bit earlier in our conversation about this, but I didn't want to lose track of it. So I'd love to touch on it really quickly. So many of my friends or people that I've met through dating and my own personal process that a lot of people have mentioned, or at least in the younger millennial age group right now, have said that they worry about losing their independence if they were to get married. But you in your book happen to argue the opposite. So I'd love it if you could discuss a little bit about how doing marriage actually gives someone more freedom.
Look, that's a very common fear. Okay, it's a popular belief, a common fear, and I completely understand why people feel that way. I think people feel that way because it's been a long time since we've done marriage properly and we've been fully committed. But the truth is that when marriage is done right, when you are fully in, as we were talking before,
Hmm.
it doesn't take away marriage or committed relationships don't take away your freedom. It actually creates more freedom. Now, most people associate freedom with independence. Can I date any man that I want to? No. Okay, I can, but I won't because I'm married. So I can't say that I have complete independence in that. But that's not how we view freedom. People associate freedom with I get to do whatever I want when I want. I don't want to do whatever I want when I want. I don't think I'll be the person that I am if I had that mentality. But I think that what every person is truly seeking is the ability, when they say freedom, is the ability to be fully themselves, is the ability to pursue their dreams and to feel supported while doing it. And because we don't believe that's possible, then we go, oh, I want freedom to do what I want when I want. I'm not sure people really want that. Maybe they want that for a little bit, but then their soul is going to crave way more than that. I want to grow. I want to be in a relationship that I can be myself, fully authentic, that I can pursue my dreams. And there's somebody there say, go for it. I support you. That when I told my husband after my father passed, I think I'm really depressed. And his words, I will never forget. His words were, it's okay. I have your back. That's it. That's all I needed to hear. From the next day, I started feeling better. So I think that deep inside, that's what we truly want. But because we don't believe it's possible, then we default to that, oh, freedom. I want to do whatever I want when I want. Nobody really wants that. We want real connection. We want deep connection. We don't want to feel lonely. So this is what I have to say. When marriage is done, is built with intentionality. When you're investing and committing to something that matters to you and you work to make it better, even on the days that it feels like you don't know if it's going to be better, and you work towards a common goal of being happy, I mean, that's a happy life. Happiness is the joy you feel as you move forward in life towards the things that matter to you. I wouldn't be the person that I am if I didn't have somebody that calls me on my negativity and somebody that I am accountable for. So I need to be the best version of myself. It's an illusion to think that if I was single with the freedom to do whatever I want when I want, I'll be, happier, more evolved. No. There's so much we can accomplish on our own. And I wouldn't be able to do a career change if I wasn't married because I wouldn't be able to support myself financially. It took time for me to start making money as a coach. In the beginning, we knew it was going down to go up. But because I'm married and I have somebody who supported me, it was possible.
Right. You could pursue your dream because he was willing to take over a little more of the financial burden until you got back up. Yeah.
We've done that for each other many times. We are always pivoting and we're always doing, and okay, it's fine because we have that safety net, which is us. We are our own safety net. That's what I would say.
hmm No, I'm really glad that you brought up that, yes, people conflate how they define freedom and how they define independence. And if you try and bring the two together, you're not necessarily getting both, even if you think you are. So by staying single out of fear, more often than not, there's no guarantee that you will actually accomplish what you think you would have accomplished on your own versus how much you could accomplish if you were with the right supportive partner. Because I think that, okay, I'm single and I can do whatever I want whenever I want, but that the motivation may never be there. It may never show up. I may never actually pivot that career. I may never actually move to that other city. I may never actually believe in my dream enough to try it as a single individual. But theoretically, I'm dating someone that's supportive and kind and encouraging, and they're also ambitious. I could look at them and go, wow, they're pursuing something really cool and it makes them happy to pursue their dream. Maybe I should try mine.
That's right. Not to mention that freedom is also, we feel free when we break free from our own negativity and we heal our own wounds, right? So, I mean, you need somebody to bring up your own negativity. Part of the purpose of my husband is, yes, to elevate my positive qualities, but also to show me where I need to change and work on myself. If I'm alone and nobody triggers me, how am I supposed to evolve?
Right. How do
You
I
know,
learn that lesson?
people
Yeah.
say I want to be humble, so I'm not pursuing success because I want to stay humble. That's not humility. You are staying humble because you have nothing triggering your ego.
Mm.
But if you want to really be humble, pursue all the success in the world, and then when you are at the top and you start to feel that you're getting in your head and your ego is starting to get in his head, now work on humility.
Right.
So working on ourselves when nobody triggers us is an illusion.
Well, I think it's a life not lived, right? If you're never taking a risk or you're never figuring out what does make you uncomfortable and then growing from that space, you lose the opportunity to figure out who you are, right? And if you don't really know who you are, how are you going to be a successful me pillar in that relationship. It's okay if you don't want to do as much as your partner is doing, but I think it has to come from a place of understanding that that's who you are and that's what you want, not out of I'm too afraid to try this because I think my partner would make fun of me or not support me, or I worry about what other people are going to think. And at the end of the day, it shouldn't matter if that's what makes you happy. But it's so scary. It's easier said than done, though. So you've been giving us so much good relationship advice so far in this episode. But I'm curious, what was the best relationship advice you ever received?
The best relationship advice I ever received came from my mom, but I know she also received it from her mom. And there were three things my mom told me when I got married. One, never leave the bedroom. Arguments will happen. Don't sleep on the couch. Don't sleep somewhere else. Okay? The bedroom is the sanctuary of the marriage. So if you leave the bedroom, you're basically leaving the marriage. And I write that in the book. So that's one. Then she said, never speak badly about your husband's family. Even if he is upset at his parents, he's venting, don't join the party. Don't speak badly about them. At the end of the day, these are his parents or his family. So don't put your spouse between you and them. Okay. So that can turn, can turn the relationship apart or break the loyalty. So you don't want that. And the third thing she said to me was, never talk badly about your husband to others. Protect his reputation. Sometimes we feel like venting. Okay, we're upset, we are frustrated with our husband. We feel like venting to friends or families about our spouse. And that can feel, cathartic in the moment. You can feel the relief. But it will damage trust and respect in the long run because people always remember what you said. And even if he changed, they will remember that. So never do that. Protect their reputation no matter what. So these were three pieces of advice that my mom gave me, and I live by them. My mom and my dad were a great example.
Good. That's good. You're very lucky to have had that. One, to watch it play out in your own life and then find a way to try and mirror that into yours and what you could benefit from and bring into your own marriage now. I think that's super important. So for the listeners who might be single right now, and they want to build an extraordinary life or find that loving relationship like what you talk about in your book, what are some things that they should be doing right now to best set themselves up to become a power couple in the future?
So I think that first you want to get clear about what you want, and I'm not just talking about listing the attributes that you want in your spouse. More than anything, I think it's looking at the vision of your home. Like close your eyes and look at your home. When you have that home, do you want children in it? No. What kind of home are you looking for? And if you're not sure, think about what people are saying when they come to visit, right? How do people feel when they come to your home? And then once you have that image of the home you want to build, that's what you're doing with your partner, you're building a home. Then imagine who's that partner there and what attributes do they have? How do you relate to each other? How do you converse? How do you go through your day? And then write it down and become that person yourself. So if you wrote down, for example, my partner communicates when something is bothering him or her, then make sure you become that person. If you have a problem with a colleague, with your boss, with your parents, communicate. If you put my partner is open for feedback, make sure you're also open for feedback. So I would say become the person you want your partner to be, because like attracts like in that sense, in terms of personal evolution. I would say start with that. And then, of course, live your life like you lack nothing and you will attract that person. Live your life like you lack nothing, need nothing, and you will attract that person.
That's excellent. And emulating what your future self already looks like or
That's
acts
right.
like. Yeah. And that the fake it till you make it, but instead it's fake it until you become it, I guess. Like you know who you want to be, and you know that your future self would take these types of steps or these types of behaviors. So if you go ahead and practice them now, it would make sense that it becomes almost natural to you later.
Yeah, like if you want a partner who takes care of their body and they're
Mhm.
active, then make sure you're also that way or become that way.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So I'm curious, you did mention that you have 3 children. What are the lessons or the legacy that you are trying to leave behind for your children? And what are you hoping that they will gain from watching your your power couple relationship with your husband?
Oh, the kids make fun of us. They do. First of all, my oldest is in a relationship. She's 23. And of course, she and her boyfriend read the book. And she also passed the book to her friends. But more than anything, I want my children to grow knowing in their heart, not just intellectually,
Yeah.
that it's absolutely possible to build the most beautiful, nurturing relationship. I want them to see through my marriage that love isn't just something that happens, it's something we cultivate, protect, and invest every single day. So I want them to believe that it's possible and that love is built, not found. And to emulate that, to see respect and kindness, that these are non negotiables. They never heard my husband and I tell each other, "Are you crazy? Are you stupid? What are you saying?" You know. So that's the legacy that I hope to leave them and for them to pass on to the next generation.
Love that. So this show mostly focuses about, as we discussed, mostly focuses about those pivotal, what now, kind of transformative moments that happen in your life, and they kind of set you off on a trajectory to kind of figure out who you are and what your purpose is in life. If there's a couple where one of the partners is having one of those kind of existential crisis kind of moments, what is something that their opposite partner can do to help them through that process? Like, as a power couple, what's the best way to balance when one person might be struggling or lost and the other one can't fully experience it, right? They can't fix everything for their partner. So what's probably the best way for a power couple who might be dealing with a struggle come through and come out on the other side?
So first of all is notice. To notice that and to say something. I notice that I'm- or I I am noticing that you are not as happy or you are tired or what's going on. Is there anything going on? So to notice and to inquire, that on its own is huge. And to allow the person to open up and speak up whenever they're ready. Sometimes it takes some time, and so it takes several attempts to say, do you want to talk? Whenever you're ready, I'm here. You want to create that space. Obviously it has to come from non-judgmental space. And sometimes it takes you get out of the home, go for a walk, because the person, your spouse might not be able to open up when you are, let's say, um, around the table after dinner or you're watching TV at night. But if you go for a walk, especially for men, what happens when we go for a walk is that people usually walk, one next to each other. So we have parallel view. We're not seeing each other. It's much easier, especially for men, to open up when they are also doing something. That's a concept in psychology. When men are doing something, they are more likely to open up and speak because they're busy in the doing, in this case, walking, and they're not looking at you. And that allows them to feel more at ease to open up and share what's going on with them. And then always ask, how can I help? What can I do to make you feel better? What do you need from me right now? Never assume anything. Just inquire and be patient, because not everybody's going to be ready to share right away. And sometimes you can suggest professional help. Your partner might not even realize that that's possible, and sometimes they kind of want it, but they go, I don't know how that's going to be seen by my partner. I don't know if we have the funds for that. I don't know if I should invest in myself. So when your partner says, I think you should get help, they're validating you and what you're feeling. And it's like giving permission, not that you need the permission, but it's them saying, invest in you, go seek help. You can go for a ride, even when people are just go for a ride, put calm music and talk. Go for a walk and talk. Most of our visions, everything we plan is usually when we're walking.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Not in the winter, though.
Right. I was going to say, it might be cold in Montreal to go walking right now, but
in the summer, we walk all the time. And this is when we plan things. It's incredible what happens to your brain when you're walking.
Or just getting outside, adding in the minimum 30 minutes of movement, something like that, where you
Yeah.
can not be in front of a screen or you're addicted to your phone or something like that too. So the advice you gave makes a whole lot of sense to me. And I liked that you emphasized the patience. Be involved enough with your partner to notice there's a problem. Once you notice it, ask, and then be patient enough to wait on the answer. Because I know sometimes you might be dating a partner that wants to like fix, like, oh, here's a problem, let's make a solution. Let's just get in there and get it done. And the other partner may not be ready for that yet, or they're only just now getting used to the idea that you would be even open to helping them. So they're like, okay, they can unclench or relax a little bit more and then like slowly again ask for the help. So I liked that you emphasized the patience in between asking each question.
And keep in mind that some people are not used to that. Some people grew up without support. They pretty much raise themselves, so they don't have that ability to ask for help or to share what's going on. So they are more likely to keep to themselves or isolate when they have a problem. So you really want to be patient and slowly teach the other person that, hey, we are a team for the better and the worse. I'm here whenever you're ready.
That's an excellent way to phrase it. So, Gabriela, I've had so much fun talking to you. I don't want to take up too much more of your time. So, I only had like just a final few questions here. So, how do you define purpose, and what does living in your purpose look like to you?
Well, living my purpose for me is taking my soul desire and putting it out there. That's basically it. It's impacting the world with my gifts. And that changes. It's not the same that it was when I started as a coach. We are always changing. So living in my purpose it's a very dynamic process. It's not, okay, this is my purpose, it's done. And we're always changing, and our soul desire to impact differently is changing. So to be in tune with that soul desire and give it the space that it needs to come out and to use it to help other people, to be of service, and doing that in a way that is received, that is well received. I define success as a combination of purpose, that I'm putting out there what I want to put out there, what I feel like I'm called to put out there, what I feel like God gave me so I can put out there.
Sure.
But also that people see the value of that. They're receiving that. In other words, they're willing to pay for that. And then that I have the health and the family to share all these purpose with.
Yeah, hard to enjoy being successful if you have nobody else to share in that wealth, that metaphorical wealth of whatever it is that you've cultivated. Yeah, that absolutely makes sense. And then if you could give yourself advice 10 years ago, what would it be?
It would be, don't work so hard, stop the hustle, and allow the creator to support you and help you.
I like that. And that's hard too right now because the economy won't let us stop hustling, right? Unfortunately. So finding the right balance is crucial, or at least hustling for the correct purpose, I think makes the biggest difference. Like,
Yeah.
I've noticed I don't mind working harder towards a particular goal if it's what's aligning with me in the right way. If I'm working really hard on something and I'm getting nowhere, or the promotion never comes, or the crucial feedback I would need to grow never actually comes to fruition, like it's kind of hard to have that same motivation and momentum to keep going down a path. This isn't working anymore. And how do I find the right thing that will work? So I love that. That's good. Gabriela, thank you so much for coming on the show. I've had such a great time chatting with you and learning more about how to build, legendary relationships and a healthy marriage for the future. What would you like to promote? Let everybody know how to find you, where they can get your book if they want to work with you or do some coaching or therapy options. What's the best way to contact you?
Yeah. So first of all, if they want to read the prologue of the book for free, they can download it at becomingapowercouple.net.
Okay.
And the book is available on Amazon. And I'm available for relationship coaching at gabrielaembon.com. We are soon also launching a package. It's called the pre-marriage package, to set couples up for success, including understanding who they are, their human design, their soul blueprint, and then how they use all this awareness and implement the 4 pillars. So we're going to have that as a service as well. But really, everything is going to be listed in gabrielaembon.com. I'm also on social platforms.
Excellent. Everyone, I will make sure that I put all of Gabriela's information in the show notes. You can find her there. Please reach out to her if you have any extra questions or insights or you would love to grab a copy of the book, make sure to do so. I promise it's an excellent read and it's fun. Even if you're not married, you will learn a lot. So I absolutely appreciate you sending me a copy. So thank you again for doing that. And you guys know the drill. Like, subscribe, leave a review. We appreciate those 5 stars. Anytime you share the show, it helps us grow and spread our message to more and more people. So I wouldn't be able to do this without you and without your support. So I appreciate every single one of you. And remember, we'll catch you next week. Wanderers are always welcome.